something other than covering for him, you know?
And, you know, Lieutenant John McDonough, who won a $550,000 judgment against the city, he was transferred to a different shift. They took his gun away for a couple of days and basically embarrassed him. Tim Caves was out of work for almost 2 years. And plus the public humiliation, his name was dragged through the mud. I'm sure people still refer to him, oh, that's a cop that got charged with drunk driving, even though he's found not guilty. I could be wrong, but I think the civil judgment, besides the back pay, which is probably close to $200,000, the civil judgment is going to be over $1 million. And Crowley's on the hook personally for part of that.
There's 12% annual interest on this kind of judgment, and they haven't paid him yet.
Yeah, his back pay is accumulating about $50 a day.
Why haven't they paid him?
Because there's a dispute over whether or not it should include an average of details and overtime, because this officer worked a lot of overtime. And the city's saying they shouldn't have to pay it. We say they should. And that it's pretty much standard practice that you do include that in a judgment like that. So instead of just paying him what they think they owe him, and then we'll...
So as they keep arguing, this just builds up.
It's about $50 a day.
Yeah, good, that's smart, huh?
Yeah, so...
Remind me not to go to the Quincy Bank.
Yeah.
City of Quincy Bank.
So instead of just paying them what they think they owe him, and then we can bicker about the difference later, they just haven't paid him.
So what's he doing? I mean, he's back on the job.
Back to work.
He's getting his pay now, though. I mean, he just hasn't got the back pay, but he's getting his pay. Yeah,
But he's got bills, he's got a lot of bills, and, you
He
know.
was out of work for 2 years, and, you know, he had to rely on the generosity of friends, family, and the union to help make ends meet while he was out of work.
You know, the stories just get more and more unbelievable.
I will say that the title of that editorial is appropriate to describe the Quincy Police Department, the theater of the absurd.
Yeah.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah. So, you haven't heard from Bruce Tate, I was going to say, Councilor Davis. You haven't?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, you haven't heard from him.
No.
Yeah, I wrote a letter to my councilor when this came out in the paper, when it first came out there with this one here. And I haven't heard from him either. I wrote a letter basically saying, you believe him now? And I mean, you know, I haven't heard anything.
Well, the phone don't ring in Lois, huh?
No, the phone don't ring. The phone don't ring at all. So what's, what else is going on? Well,
I don't know if you're aware of, we're currently involved in a legal fight over use of our vacation time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what basically happened was we filed a grievance to enforce a portion of our contract that's very important to our members. And the members of the command staff apparently took that as a direct insult. And so as a result of that, they issued an order, the chief issued it, but we think it came from other people, that said we couldn't use any single vacation days outside of our vacation period. Because what's done is they take the summer period from early June until September, and they break up into 2-week blocks, and you pick your time by seniority. So after this order was issued, even if there's 6 extra people working, like we're tripping over each other, we can't use a single vacation day for 4 months out of the year. Basically, they stole 4 months of our life away, just as retaliation for filing a grievance. So we went to Norfolk Superior Court to get an injunction against this, and the judge basically said, I can't rule on something that I don't see. I need to see the city's vacation policy. So she didn't rule on it, just kind of said, you know, come back when you have your stuff together. We filed with the city the very next day to get a copy of the policy. Almost 3 months later, we're still waiting. So we decided to go on the offensive, and we filed a motion to reconsider in Norfolk Superior Court. And as such, basically, we're suing the city. And as such, we have the right to depose members of the command staff. And the captain who wrote the affidavit in support of the city's defense in court, you know, justifying why they wanted to do this, his name's Captain Paul Keenan. He's in charge of the day shift. I don't know why he made this decision that affects the entire patrol force. I think he has his own little agenda beside anyway. But so since he was the author of the affidavit, he's the first one we wanted to depose. And we subpoenaed him. He was served in hand by a deputy sheriff. He was served the subpoena to appear before Labor Day. The city asked for an extension. We said, no problem, things come up, you know. We may need an extension someday ourselves. So we rescheduled it for today, September 12th. At first, the city said, well, we're not going to show up. We're just going to ignore the subpoena because they filed a motion to block our subpoena in court. And because they can't do anything right. Because they didn't file their motion in time, they couldn't get a hearing before the actual date of the deposition. So they said, well, we're not coming. And the city's attorney, David Grunenbaum, kept calling our attorney saying, you really should cancel the stenographer because we're not going to be there, and, you know, don't waste your time and money. And so our attorney knew better, said, the subpoena's been issued, he's been served, we expect you to be here. So right on time, the elevator opens, out comes Captain Keenan by himself. Said, is your attorney coming? I said, no, I don't think so. So they waited around for about 20 minutes. So they started the deposition. He was sworn. He was asked a basic, name, address, occupation. Did you bring with you the items listed in the subpoena, meaning the city's vacation policy? I received a subpoena. He said, Captain, I'm asking you, did you bring this? I refused to answer any questions on the orders of the city's attorney. So he did the equivalent of taking the fifth, and not really, he didn't really take the fifth, but you know what I mean. To me, why would somebody refuse to answer questions under oath? Because they get something to hide. What is it? So now what we have to do is take this transcript, which will be all of one or two pages, because at that point, our attorney said, so I take it you're going to refuse to answer any questions I ask you? Yes, I'm going to. Suspended the deposition. So we have to take this transcript, which is going to be like 1 or 2 pages at the most, bring it back to court and file a motion to compel discovery. In other words, if our motion is granted, which I fully believe it will be, a judge will order the captain to answer the questions or face contempt of court, basically face jail time.
Well, it sounds to me like you guys spend more time in court fighting this Crowley guy.
It's unbelievable. It's just they have to make everything difficult.
I mean, the money we've spent fighting this guy, I've said to Bruce, I want to file something. I think it's actionable, the money we spent. We should be reimbursed for some of that. It's frivolous. I mean, some of these things he's doing, I swear, I try to break us financially, which we're very solvent. We have plenty of money and plenty of time. But it's just the principle of it. He's trying to break our union, fiscally. And
it's not going to work.
No. I mean, we have a lot of support, and we just want what's fair. We're not a greedy union. We want what's fair. We signed a contract in good faith with the city of Quincy. For years, it was always followed. The last 5 or 6 years, we have to fight every little item in that contract.
Do you think it's because the chief just doesn't like patrolmen? Do you think it goes beyond that?
It goes beyond that, but the heart of it is, in my opinion, he hates patrol officers that work in patrol in the black and whites because he never did the job.
I've heard that before.
We have him under oath stating.
He never did it. He never did the job. And it's obvious. When you deal with him at a scene, he kind of gets a glazed over look when you try to talk to him about police work.
Doesn't know what he's doing.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
During the K's arbitration to get his job back, our attorney asked him, his law enforcement credentials, and he got him pinned down to when he worked in patrol, and he said less than a year. And our attorney said, can you be more specific? Because that could be anywhere from 1 to 364 days.
Right.
And the city objected, and the arbitrator upheld the objection, so we couldn't pin it down any more than that. I guarantee it was no more than a few months. I mean, at best, he's a rookie cop, and with apologies to rookies, they don't know what they're doing. I didn't know what I was doing when I was a rookie.
Right. Yeah. I want to go back to the chief again on the, because I don't want to let it die. Again, I just don't understand how he hasn't been suspended, Bruce. I just don't understand it.
Because the mayor is taking what we refer to as...
Why is this mayor, I call him mayor failure, why is he not doing anything about it?
Because it's politically embarrassing. I mean,
Isn't it more politically embarrassing to be happening what's happening now?
Well, I agree with you.
I mean, you got a police department that's unhappy. You got a lot of people that are unhappy about it. I mean, I hear people talking. Clubs that I belong to, they're talking about it. They're Quincy residents and everything. But I mean, if mayor failure is the mayor, all right, he should be doing something about it. He should be suspending this guy. He should be talking to this guy. Something should be done about it.
He should be.
If he turns around and says to you or to any other police officer, you did this, this, or this, you're being suspended. He turns around and does the same thing, sometimes even a little worse, but even the same thing. Shouldn't the mayor come to him and say, "No, you're suspended"?
Absolutely. He should be treated as every other member of the department has. Take his gun permit, put him on paid administrative leave pending the court outcome. That's how we've been treated in the past. Why is the chief of police being treated any differently? Because, whether the mayor likes it or not, and I know he doesn't like it, the chief of the Quincy Police Department stands accused in court of committing a crime, using his office to commit a crime.
And this is the first